Well, let's head out west now, where things are going to get even more heated today on this 4th of July, because you saw the protest earlier this week out there in Murrieta, California, where those illegal immigrants in those buses had been flown into town. And then, of course, local residents there came out and stopped those buses from going into those processing centers. Well, another round of buses set to arrive today, but local residents there saying, not in our town. You better turn them around and get them out of here today.
I mean, listen. I don't understand why the president likes to do this. What he does is, through administrative action, he doesn't alert people that he's sending these illegal immigrants there. No one was warned about this, okay? He did this with Bergdahl, never alerted Congress. He's done it with the EPA through administrative action. And he did it through Obamacare. He just shoves these things down people's throat. And people have a right to be upset about this. And one of the main concerns is the cost. HHS just came out with the fact that 1.3 million enrollees to Obamacare may be illegal aliens. And that's one of the things that people are upset about, is going to be the cost.
Well, and this is a Department of Homeland Security bus. I mean, we're seeing that this is it falls under the Department of Homeland Security, and they don't have the resources where they were arriving in Texas to handle the processing. So they have to be put in an airplane. Think about Americans who've never even flown in an airplane in their lifetime because they can't afford to.
Right.
So these people being put in an airplane, then being flown to California, then being driven by buses on taxpayer dollars to these processing centers where they're being checked in and so forth, and then where are they going to go? They might be then taken up to Pennsylvania, where they'll be housed and cared for because we don't have the resources to care for this humanitarian crisis.
Yeah, and we've seen these angry town hall meetings, people packing in, trying to talk to lawmakers and hoping that the word gets to the president. We have to do something to change these policies you've put in place that has put these illegal immigrants under the impression that they can come here, and once they get here, they can stay here. Democrats, meanwhile, what are we going to be hearing from them? Are they, is the problems that they're starting to see, is it going to be making them beseech the president as well? Well, they're starting to say, you know what, no, this is just a humanitarian crisis. They're trying to flee from their home countries, from Honduras and from Guatemala, and just being filtered through Mexico because they're scared for their lives. But are they simply looking for a free pass? Here's what Charles Krauthammer has to say.
The administration says, oh, it's a result of the crime and the poverty in Central America, as if crime and poverty have not been a constant in Central America for generations. What changed is not the crime and the poverty. It's not the cartels who want to exploit all this. What changed is a policy of the United States, unlawful, I would say, the administration unilaterally changing the law regarding children who come in illegally and allowing them to stay. That word has spread.
Yeah, the word has spread there, so these cartels basically using it as an opportunity for these individuals to come to the United States and then be paid off if you want to send them back. The policy is, and these families hearing it down there, is that, you know what, in the United States, if we allow our children to come across the borders, that there is a bit of amnesty for you. You're allowed to stay. But in fact, that has expired. So anyone now coming across it on the president's watch, that is not allowed to happen. That happened about a year and a half ago for those who arrived about a year and a half ago. That policy has ended. So anyone coming across the border, they are hearing that that's what America's doing, allowing kids to come in. That's inaccurate.
Right, and just remember, I think the president, just this past year said the border has never been more secure. Simply just not true. And the Border Patrol just released an exclusive memo where they interviewed hundreds of these people that have come across from Guatemala, and they say, why have you come? And you know what 90% of them said? Because they heard through the local media that they get a free pass by the United States if they come here by this summer. Now, if the Iranians all of a sudden were coming because there's chaos and poverty and crime in Iran, would we allow that to happen? Absolutely not.
We know what's happening from China.
It's true.
Governor Rick Perry, though, slamming the president because the president is going to Texas, but not to go to the border. He's going to Texas to have a fundraiser for Democrats, and Governor Rick Perry is not happy about it. Take a listen.
We're also in danger at the hands of those who might be slipping through from countries who have known terrorist ties, a wide range of potential threats that are facing us from abroad. This is not the time to be distracted by something else. Secure this border, Mr. President. Finally, address this issue and secure this border. Invest sufficient resources to put an adequate number Border Patrol agents on the ground permanently.
Yeah, folks are worried about crime. They're worried about, you know, burglary. They're worried about drugs. They're worried about sex crimes, all that. But one thing we really ought to think about, as Governor Perry just mentioned, we need to think about acts of terror coming through these borders if they appear to be wide open to the rest of the world. If you look at the front page of the New York Times today, they're even talking about this, and they said the town where immigrants hit a human wall there in Murrieta, California, and you see people in the picture saying, bus illegal children to the White House. Maybe that would send a message, they're thinking. But if you look at the picture that they have up here with the president highlighting him on the 4th of July, it's not dealing with the crisis on our hands. It's just visiting a tech startup in Washington.
That's right, and they do have a fence around the White House. That's to keep people out. It seems to work.
Yeah, fence works there.
All right, new polls show more Americans than ever voting President Obama the worst president since World War II. Lieutenant Colonel and former Congressman Alan West here live to weigh in.
In the House. And if you're not